Good evening, everybody. My name is Knives, and I wanted to take some time to produce a video that basically showed the process of designing an item in a CAD software and printing it 3D. Everything is going to take place here in the browser. I am going to show some after pictures of what the item that I'm printing looks like and what the ultimate goal is. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to print something from a hobby I enjoy, and that is cigar smoking. The concept is basically a holder for a cigar, a lighter, a cutter, and a lighter bleed tool. And I'll have pictures included in the video that will pop up, and it's going to have dimensions for each of those items associated with it. So I'm going to kind of walk you guys through the process of designing something. The CAD of choice here that I have is Tinkercad, and you can see the web address www.tinkercad.com. I would recommend signing up and taking a look. It's free. You can put all your projects, anything that you work on, anything that you want to do, you can put it into Tinkercad, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to design something. So, again, the design is going to be based off of a cigar accessories organizer with a slot for a cigar in the center. That is the goal, and I'm also going to show in the video how to incorporate this into another design. There's a lot of designs that you can go to on, say, Maker World or printables of people that have already designed something. I'm going to take my holder and I'm going to show you how easy it is to integrate the holder into another item. I'll show you that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And I do apologize for the printing noise in the background. I am printing an item. We're going to go ahead and get started here with a cylinder. So I'm just going to drop a cylinder onto the workspace. So I already know what my measurements are. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to lay out my measurements here. We want the body to be 77. And we're going to be 77 here as well. If you don't know what your measurements are, I would definitely invest in some dial calipers. I'll leave a Amazon link to the pair that I purchased. That way you can get proper measurements for smaller items. Dial calipers are pretty accurate for the most part. That is really how I got all of the measurements for the item that we're going to make today. So this item has already been made. I'm just going through and showing you how easy it is to make something. While the design isn't complicated, it's definitely a good way to get your foot in the door. So just wanted to throw that out there as well. So let's see here. What is our height? Our height is 65. Okay. So that is going to be the base of our cup. So we're going to go ahead and take the sides and we're going to smooth it out all the way around. And as you can see, it's now smooth. So that's our starting point there. That's what we're going to build off of as we continue to go through. So next, we're going to go ahead and put in the cigar holder. This particular cup, if you wanted to just build the cup and leave it as is, then you could definitely do that to have the accessories organized on your desk. Now, the bad part is when you go to print this, the item that we're going to incorporate this into does have a lid on it, and it's not going to hold a full-size cigar. But wherever you go, you'll be able to take it with you. This is more of a demonstration. You would obviously need to make adjustments to the container that you're, using for, whatever you're using it for height-wise. So, and I'm going to show you how to make adjustments to an item as well. So that's kind of integrated into the demonstration here. So next up, we're going to grab the cylinder here. This is a hole. And we're going to drag it onto the work plane, and I already know my measurements here are 22, nope, 23. So we're going to do 23 and 23, and then we're going to go ahead and take both items. We're going to highlight them there. If you want to know how to highlight, essentially you click on an item, hold shift, click on the other if you've never used this program before, and we're going to come here to the align tool, and we're going to click align on both sides to make sure it's completely aligned. Our cigar is going to be the centerpiece. So okay, we got part of the hole here. We're going to make adjustments, and I'm going to drag this up. Then I'm going to slide it down. Before I do that, I'm going to take the cylinder and I'm going to turn it transparent. And I'm going to continue dropping this down. And let's see, we'll zoom in a little bit here. That looks good to me right there. So, all right, so that's as far as we're going to go. And this is this little pyramid tool. This is how you drag it. And as you can see there, it tells you how far it is off the bottom. So that's basically touching the bottom. We're going to put it at 4. And so the cigar, slot for the cigar, if you were to build this out, depending on how big the cigar is that you smoke, we'll say 175. So your final project would want to revolve around a container that can basically hold a cigar that goes all the way up to 105. And this is in millimeters, by the way, 105 millimeters. One of the things we're going to do down here real quick is we're going to turn off the snapping, so that way we have a little more precise control over our cylinder here. So next up, we're going to go ahead and drop another hole onto the page here, and we're going to do our lighter tool. So our sizes here on the side is going to be 36.75 by 20.5, and that is going to be the basis for our lighter tool. And our lighter tool is going to go on either side. It doesn't really matter what side you put it on. So you're just going to want to drag it. Oops, I didn't click it. Let's go back. So you can't go back. There is ways to go back. So in this case, now this is a good spot. So let's say I drop this in there and I can't get to it, right? Like it's stuck. I can't get to it, right? So you can hit Control H, actually, hide this, or click the cylinder and then click Control H, and then the cylinder goes away. Then you can drag out your deal here, and you can go back up to the little light bulb here, and that gets you your item back. And I did it again. Let's see here. We're going to turn on the snapping. I'm going to turn that back on for right now. There we go. Nope, that's the wrong one. Okay. So we don't want this to be completely on the ground, so we are going to make this, let's see, we need to be at 61. So we're going to want to pull that a little bit above, and the reason why we're pulling it above is so that we can make sure that it fits into, and we can grab this here and move it around. Because if we sink it in too soon, we're not going to be able to get to it. So, but it's coming together nicely. I'm going to back this up just a bit to the corners. We're going to need to make some adjustments to this here because I can see that we are outside the bounds of our deal there. So I'm going to make some minor adjustments. Let's see. Let me see where we're at here. Alright. Let me make my adjustments real quick here. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to line this up to our cigar piece here. So what we'll do, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me recenter that real quick, actually, and just use this. There we go. So we'll line this up, and again, you need to hit shift. Both of the items are highlighted here, and you can come over, and you see it'll show you where it goes. So we don't entirely want it to be all the way outside, but you can align it left, right. You can even align it above. So if you click on this, it'll move it up, and that's not what we want, but we want it pretty much in the center, which, as you can see now, it basically is just barely touching the edges, and it could be scooted up just a hair. So we'll turn off the snapping, and we'll use our keyboard, and you can very little bit see that it is moving, and that has given us a little more clearance here on the side. It's not since we're going to be putting this in another item, it's not imperative that this line up completely, but it's definitely helpful. Your design probably won't be as intricate. Well, I shouldn't say it's not going to be as intricate as this. It probably won't have the tolerance or the strict dimensions that this needs. So, alright, next up we're going to add our bleeder tool, and we're going to get another hole here. Oops. We're going to get another hole. I clicked the wrong button. I'm going to get, we'll just start out here. 13 by 13 is what we're looking for. And that's going to hold our bleeder tool perfectly. And we will pull this up. And let's see, what is our height that we need here? Let's take a look and see. So, oops, it's going to be 49 for the height there. And we are going to do the same and pull it just above. That looks pretty good right there. That way we have some room to pull these and move these around as we need to. If you group them together, which I'll show you here in a minute, grouping them too soon might be a little bit of a problem for you, but that's okay. So we're going to take the tube and we're going to move this down to the bottom, and you can see here it shows you how far it is off the bottom. So we'll make that adjustment. And then next up is going to be the slot for the cutter. And again, we're going to come over here and we're going to grab our hole. And the measurements are 45, 50, and 1478. And that's our cutter. And again, the best cutter out on the market, the Calibre V-Cut, just by having those tolerance or the dimensions in there, make that cutter fit in there really well. And then our height is going to be 61. Alright, and now we're going to poke this just above the cylinder, and you can come down here and you can grab it as well. Alright, there we are. We got that. Okay, now we're going to line this one up as well. So we'll click off, easiest way to do it, and then hold the shift key and come up here to our alignment tool, and as you can see, it aligned and everything is looking pretty good. We're going to go ahead and oops, still highlighted. We'll move that back. We'll click, so you got to click off. I just click off the work plane. Then I noticed I moved it a little bit. Is it still center? I'm not sure. So what we'll do is we'll do that process over again. We're going to click our hole slot there, and we're going to do an alignment. Boom. So it came unlined. Okay. So we're going to move it a little bit off the edge. Let's go back. Let's turn off our grid snapping here. And you can see it moving ever so slightly. Ever so slightly. So we're going to go ahead and move this in just a little more, just to get it off the edges here. And we're going to take our cigar cylinder and we're going to move it to the right just a bit, so it gives us some more room for our lighter. And that's it. That is the basis of our design. Now you can see here it's not lining up correctly, which is entirely fine. It's just the way it's going to be. So we're going to go ahead and highlight this now, and we're going to come up here to the group, and as you can see, it slots everything perfectly. So if you wanted to make the necessary adjustments, like we can ungroup everything, and if you wanted to come back in here and change, let's see, let's click the cylinder, let's click, oops, where are we at here? Okay, click that, and then that, and we'll do the alignment. Yeah, the alignment takes us pretty far over to our this is our lighter pocket here. You can see it takes it pretty far over, but for the interest of this video, we'll leave it as is, and you guys will get to see the finished product. Now, our bleeder tool is a little close to the cigar slot, so what we're going to do, we're going to move it down a little bit. So I'm going to hit Control Shift and down arrow on my keyboard, and oops, I just realized that's the wrong movement. Let's try this again. There we go. Or is it still moving down? Oh, it's moving out. Alright, so let's just do this. Let's turn this, actually, let's go to 1. There we go. Move it a little quicker. Alright, we're going to reconfirm the alignment on that just to make sure I didn't knock it out of alignment. And I did just a bit. Alright. Alright, so we're good there. So we're going to go ahead and highlight everything here, and we are going to go ahead and group it again. And as you can see, that is it. That is exactly what I have sitting on my desk right now. That's how I did it. So we want to get a little more detailed here. We're going to go ahead, a couple of things I forgot to do. We're going to ungroup again. We're going to take our hole and we're going to turn our sides all the way up. And it's just going to smooth out the sides so they're not as rough. And we're going to re-highlight this. And we're going to regroup. And then we're going to go to solid transparent. And now as you can see, the sides look way smoother than they did before. And when you go to 3D print this, you'll notice a difference as well. So, alright, so that's it. So you can go ahead and print this now. If you have a 3D printer, you can hit export and then hit STL, and you can load it in your slicing program, whether it be Bamboo Labs Studio or Orca Slicer. You can go ahead and do that now. For me, I already know that these measurements are correct. So what I'm going to do, told you at the beginning of the video that we were going to incorporate this with another design. We are going to go ahead and open up that other design now. We're going to import, and we're going to do this chamfer body. And as you can see, it's 70 by 70, and it's going to load here in just a second. And there it is. There is our chamfer body. I really like this design. Again, this was a piece that was done on printables. Somebody went through and knurled the edges. I really like it very much so. Very much so that I went through and I put this cylinder in it for cigar accessories. And again, that was something that you can do as long as the author allows for remixing. If the author of the item doesn't want it to be remixed, um, I would say respect it. But at the end of the day, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it. So, all right. Next up, what we're going to do is we are going to now take that item there. We're going to take the hole or the cylinder, and we are going to incorporate it into our cup here. So I do know already that I am going to need to make some adjustments to the cup size. And so we're going to come down here, and let me just verify the measurements real quick before we get into it. All right, so we're going to take it from 70 to 106 on both sides, and you can see how big it's increased it. And what we're going to do is we're going to slide this in, and as you can see, it fits in there perfectly. It really does. So one of the other things you can do is you can increase this size. So we'll drag this out for just a second. If you want to increase this length top-wise, or if you want to make it so that you can put your cigar in this, whichever way you choose, there's a couple different ways, and I'm going to show you the best way to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this, I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to hit Control C, Control V, and I'm going to lift this up. And as you can see, we have a duplicate of our bottom here. I'm going to take this hole, I'm going to move it up, and I'm going to pull it out just like this. And this is going to be a slight modification to this, and you'll get to see what I'm going to do with it here in a minute. So I don't want it to be complete, and this is where you're going to want to turn off grid stamping as well. So we're going to, let's see here. Let's see, how's that look? That actually looks perfect. Definitely had it a lot worse. What we're looking for here is this spot between the basically the pink area, and this right here is our hole, and you'll see what I'm going to do with it here in just a second. But I zoom in nice and close. As you can see, there's a little bit of overlap. They don't line up 100%. When you go to slice this, what I've found in the past, it doesn't cause any issues. But I'm actually going to drag this down just a bit. Just a bit. And I'm going to zoom in. Let's see. Okay, that lines up next to perfect. Okay, perfect. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to check around the area here. Okay, so we have our cup, and what we're going to do, since we have our hole here, I am going to move this up just a hair. I am going to group these two together. Just remember to group them together. You highlight them both, you come up here, and you group them together. And so as you can see, we have just the top portion of an item. And we're going to take this and I'm going to slide this down. And as you can see, they're not entirely lined up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight them both using the Shift key. Oops. Let me click off this here real quick and drag this up. That should do it there for right now. I'm going to click that spot, and then I'm going to click down there, and we're going to align them. We're going to align it. We're going to align it this way and align it this way. And as you can see, you're left with this sort of gap. And then we're going to click out in the white space. We're going to click the top again. We're going to zoom in here. nice and close. We're going to look for our up button here, or our triangle pointing towards the sky, and we're going to line everything up. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a gap. We're going to drop it down, and that's going to be it right there. We're going to be lined up. Now, it's not going to be perfect, but what I can tell you is that it's not going to carry over into your slicing program. From what I've found, when I've done this in the past, the seam is not here in the slicing program. It's like I can't get it 100% perfect. I don't know why. I have tried several different methods to make it perfect. That's like the absolute perfect that you can get right there. And that's it. So we're going to click off in the white space again. We're going to take that top. We're going to hit shift. We're going to highlight the bottom. And we're going to come over here and we're going to hit group again. And it's going to load. And as you can see, it is now 1. And if you look really closely, you can see the lines where it lined up. So now, effectively, what we've done, if you remember here while we were starting, that the container was basically to the line. There wasn't a whole lot of space. So now, what we have done is we have given this some room with a space in between the lid and the body. So there's a little bit more of a space. Now, what we're going to do, this is touching the bottom, which is completely fine. As you can see, we're kind of off over here. We're going to highlight that, the cup, and then we're going to hit shift. We're going to highlight the body again, and we're going to click our align tool, and we're just going to align everything on both sides. Now, as you can see, we're still overlapping a bit, and that may cause problems. So what we're going to do is we're going to ungroup, and everything is ungrouped. We are going to, is this moving everything? It is. So let's go back, too far back. We're going to select just this spot. And we're going to move, we're going to press the up arrow. And as you can see, it comes out of the pink space. But now we're pressing even farther up against our cigar tube. So what we'll do is we'll highlight the cigar tube and we will move that over. It is going to throw everything off, but that's okay. That's okay. You're hardly going to notice it now that this container is here. So one of the things I do want to mention, in this current state, you're not going to be able to include the lid. Let's go ahead and bring in our lid, and you can see it. This is a chamfered lid. This goes along with it. So if you were to print this right now, you would want to make sure that your lid matches your container. So you have your lid here. Oops. You want to increase the size as well. Boom. So now you can essentially take this lid, and I'm going to tell you now, if you've never dealt with a threaded system on 3D printed items before, it is going to be very difficult for you to take this lid and screw it on. My recommendation would be to use a little bit of oil. That's what I did. I used some Bamboo Labs, some of their oil right on the threads on the lid, and I screwed it. I went back and forth so it really kind of distributed that lubricant around. That way it makes it a little easier. You are going to want to sit there and work the threads on the lid. You're going to want to twist it on and off a bunch of times in order to get it to thread on there. Once you do, this seam here, the seam between the lid and the main body here, is going to disappear. It's going to be gone completely. You're not even really going to see it. especially if you print it in a dark color like a black. The lid and the body line up absolutely perfectly. Um, so yeah, that is, whoops, I moved and ruined all of that stuff. So I need to come back here, highlight that, and we are going to group it. It's going to load. So back to what I was saying about the cigar tube. So you're not going to be able to carry a cigar in this configuration because obviously cigars are 6 inches, 5 inches long, whatever the case is. One of the things you could do is continue building off of increasing the size of the body, as I showed you, and building it up to the point where you can fit a 6 to a 9-inch cigar in the center, and you have a nice little cup that you can take stuff in. Wherever you go, you have a little space to add something else over here if you so chose to. Did I cut that? Yes, I did. Let's make that adjustment here real quick. Ungroup. I can't believe I did that. Oh, I'm dragging everything. I just want this. Let's go back and let's do grid stamping. We're gonna go 4 off the bottom. Alright. Now we can come back and we can group everything together. So I would definitely recommend, before you start putting all this stuff together to conserve filament, I would recommend printing out that centerpiece first with the holes in it, just to test your item if this is something that interests you. I can imagine that this is probably a niche, and this demonstration really is more of just showing you how easy it is to design something in a program like this, more than anything. This is just the hobby that I picked that I thought would be easy. I just finished this up, so I had the dimensions fresh. I kind of knew where things needed to be and what they needed to look like. So that's where we're at. And so again, if you take that lid and you screw it on, it's going to screw on absolutely perfectly. It is going to take some time. One other note I do want to mention is on both the lid and the body, these finer edges here are pretty sharp, so I would recommend being careful when putting this on. I definitely recommend getting a file kit to kind of file these edges down. But yeah, that's everything. So from here now, you can customize it any way you want. If it were me, I would take the center out, or I would make 2 designs. If you go that far, you can entirely delete the center, take the cup and just increase it in size all the way up to about 6 to 9 inches for your cigars. This is pretty much going to be an airtight seal, so it's going to keep your humidity with the Bovita pack. Again, this is if you are into cigar smoking. If you're not, now's the time to end the video and apply what you've learned here, test it, do whatever you want with it. The knowledge that you've gotten out of it, if you've gotten something out of it. If you have gotten something out of it, I would definitely appreciate a like and a comment. I do like to talk to people. I am pretty talkative, so please, by all means, throw a comment down in chat and let's have a conversation about what you've seen here today. So just to recap everything one last time. So we started with a idea. Basically an idea I had to create an item that I could take with me that held my lighter, my cigar cutter, and my cigar or my lighter bleeder tool with me if I were to go somewhere and I needed my accessories with me. This is a great way. If this drops, this thing is a tank. You guys are going to get to see the pictures of it here in a bit, but basically I used dial calipers to get my measurements from the lighter, the bleeder tool, a cigar, and the cutter. I did it took me 2 tries. The second try was perfect. I didn't need to do anything else. The dimensions, the tolerance, all of that stuff were great. Things fit in there. It doesn't rattle around. It's perfect. The first go around, the cigar fit, the cutter fit, and that was it. Nothing else fit. Everything else needed some slight adjustments in their slots. Moving forward, what I would probably end up doing is omitting the cigar slot and taking and putting something else there in that slot. Maybe moving the cigar or the bleeder tool to the center. Just depends on what you want to do. But this was more of a tutorial to show you what you can do in a program like this. So, and then we also took another design that was remix capable. We increased the size of it. We added everything from here up to the original design, and that's it. This is exactly freehand how my other one turned out, pretty much including the space that I have here. So this is pretty identical. So you can find this model on printables under a gnarled container. I'll leave the link down below, and that's basically it. I'm going to go ahead and put in some photos and some links to Amazon stores where you can find the items that I designed for this container. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this 40-minute video on me making cigar accessory holder. Hope you enjoyed. I do want to thank you for watching, and have a good day.